Codcast, we're bringing it back. Obviously, you guys know I live in Columbus by the studio. So does Ben. We were talking. We were like, we need to bring this back and talk Call of Duty, talk CDL.
Yeah.
And we got some cool plans. Share with you guys a little bit. We're gonna do some episodes in person. Hopefully, trying to get a setup down in the basement, make that really vibey, good time, and give you guys all of our takes and kind of updates throughout the week. For this first episode, we're gonna talk all things opening weekend. We're gonna go through all the teams, their performance, and kind of like our takes on them. And then Ben's got some overreactions that we're going to talk about at the end of the episode. Is this for old men? No, 04. This is for everybody. So we'll be doing that. And then we'll also be interacting with chat a little bit. Why would he say it's for old men, Ben?
I don't know. He needs to lock in on hard point and stop criticizing us, bro. It's all good.
04. One day you'll be there. All right. So
damn, what?
All right. So Ben, we're going to go through all 12 teams. Kind of wrote down like their performance throughout, and we'll kick things off here from the bottom of the standings all the way to the top. Okay. First things first, the Riyadh Falcons are currently sitting at 12th place on the standings after starting 0-2 on the weekend, kicking things off with the 0-3 loss to OpTic, and following that up with a 1-3 loss to the Thieves. You start things off. Just tell me kind of your thoughts on the Riyadh Falcons, their opening weekend, what they showcased. Let's get into it.
Oh man, where do we start with this one? I think the tough thing with Falcons is when this team first formed, we're like, there's a lot of talent here between Kiz, AG, Pred, and Cell.
Mm-hmm.
People have won world championships. All three of them have won world championships and CDL events, and we don't really know what you have in next thing yet. He's just developing, but you've watched him play. Like you see that there's something there, and I just felt like the limitations coming this season were roles and personalities. And we don't know enough yet about this team to say maybe personalities are part of the problem, but the roles clearly when you watch them play are just not there. The series you have up on your screen right now, they got 3-0 by OpTic. Yeah, they were somewhat competitive like in that first map, but that Den Overload was one of the most disgusting displays of overload I've seen from any team so far this year.
Yeah.
And then against Thieves, they won first map against Thieves. It was a really nice hard point. And the kind of like map one hard points, I think we'll get a lot from Falcons where they really bring a lot of initial energy. They seem excited. They're just kind of really aggressive and in your face. But bro, like the S&D, was an absolute like goose egg. The overload was a goose egg, and then they had no momentum. And I don't really see the path forward for Falcons with the current roles in this team. Like it just everything feels awkward to me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're a little more doom than I would think most people should be at this point. I think they did kick things off with a really tough schedule. I mean, starting things off against OpTic is obviously going to be tough. You lose that one, then you go in and you're playing LA Thieves, where you did kick things off with a great map one. I thought Xnid showed a lot of growth. I mean, he literally essentially won them that map number one. I would say the more concerning aspect of this is what you mentioned earlier is like their overload looks very bad. And the way overload is right now, it's literally all teamwork. Like we're pushing, trying to score. We got to set up a pinch, communication. And those are like the main concerns I would have with this team is like chemistry and in-game communication. I think the hope is like bringing in a guy like Kismet is he's like the guy that kind of gets them all on the same page there. But like the disparity with them and the other like super teams in that game mode just looks night and day. And when you look at this team, like it's not built to like be like a top 8 team. Like they're trying to win right now, right? So like if you're the Falcons organization and like their management, like you're probably a little concerned about it. And then also this search and destroy that they lost to the Thieves, I would say that was probably the worst search and destroy of the weekend from any particular team. Like when I went back and I watched a little bit of the search and destroy, and it's like they're not trying to pull anybody out of position. They're not like, like you watch the other teams on Den, it's like sometimes we'll go over towards B, try to pull them off of B, maybe wrap towards A. Like there was no plays like that out of the Falcons. So I don't know, man. I think for Falcons, they just got to really try to all get on the same page and we got to see some teamwork, right? And that was the concern. Like you put a bunch of guys on this team like Celium, Pred, Kismet, and you're just hoping that it'll work. But so far, it has been a tough schedule. So I'll give them that. We got to see this next week to see if they've had some growth.
I mean, bro, I just don't think they're going to put it together, bro. I mean, I'm going to just say it how it is. Like, you have 2 players in Cell and Pred that are just generally very selfish players on the map and the way they play, right? For sort of opposite reasons. MC plays too safe for how talented he is and should value his life less sometimes as an AR. And AG I mean, the late G memes, and like you see it a lot in the third game mode, especially in Control last year and Overload this year. Like he just the way that he likes to play, and it was really good in Modern Warfare 2019. No, sorry, not MW 2019. Modern Warfare 2, MW3,
MW3, yep.
like where he lays off lane and he plays off the info and baits his team. It was really good in those titles because the maps were so close and you could hit those routes that he would get the two big 2 or 3 pieces. But it doesn't work on this title, and I just think neither of them are. Knowing those two players right now as is, I don't see them being willing to adapt and change. And I just think this thing is just not gonna figure itself out. And they're gonna have to make personnel changes. And I don't think it's as simple as dropping Xnid, because they're making poor Xnid on this team, man. Do every piece of dirty work.
Well, yeah,
if you EMP and overload.
If you remember, Ben, there was a couple rounds where he's like out to dry by himself at B in HUT, and it's like he needs somebody to play off of him in those situations. Like if he gets into the HUT, we got to drop some tax or get some shots down and try to get like Pred pushed up to Dojo and like make some plays, right? So I think just like the chemistry isn't all the way there. I think also like Kiz with the sniper, I love him with the sniper. I think he's really good, but I think he's going to have to be like the 1A, 1B guy playing aggressive in Search and Destroy with Xnid, because I just don't think Pred and Xnid, even from last year, just had enough chemistry to be able to like dictate the map pace in a Search and Destroy. So yeah, for Falcons, I mean, I kind of echo a lot of what you're saying, but I wouldn't say I'm totally out on them just yet. I think I got to see them versus some of the middle pack.
I'm done, bro.
You're done after opening weekend, team, huh?
Kiz should not be sniping on this team.
Yes, he should not be.
They need to put Kiz in the mix.
I agree.
This slow Kiz thing is not. Give MC the sniper, bro. We've seen MC snipe before. He's good at it. Okay, like he can do it. They need to put Kiz around Xnid and let Kiz be the bulldog. You're like keeping 100%. Him on a tight fucking leash right now, and I don't think the roles are going to work that way.
Well, then it's also like in this meta, Ben, they should be good. This is like where you can run multiple ARs, and like you've seen when Pred had the AR out, like they won a world championship. Like he was running it more often.
Yeah, but
right?
He doesn't like pulling an AR. That's part of the reason why he got dropped last year off OpTic.
They have to get. I mean, I see a world where this team can succeed if you get Kismet and Xen working together, and you kind of let Pred be like a kill horror AR player. Like I think that's like the route they could go. We could see some changes in roles on this team, but like I said, I'm not totally out on them just yet. We're gonna give it one more week before it's complete doom. But let's keep it moving, Ben. Let's go to the next team. The Vancouver Surge.
Can I just have one more thought on Falcons?
Yep.
I've been monitoring who's been playing 8s like every night. The one thing I love about Accent is that guy is trying his hardest to get better every day. There are other people on this team that are not doing that, and we'll just leave it at that.
Whoa! It's a grand claim. You want to say any other names? You want to leave it at that?
I mean, I see who's in 8s every night. You all see the same thing as well. So
okay. Fair enough.
Let's leave it at that.
Leave it at that. Well, this is an ongoing story that we'll keep getting into, chat. Okay, moving on. The Vancouver Surge debuted with an 0-3 loss to the pair's Gentlemates. Despite this loss, Gwyn posted the most damage in the lobby across all players at a 1.14. Yeah, I mean, this Vancouver team. Here, let's pull up the stat sheet here. Make it a little bigger for you guys.
This org is another one.
So it's not a mystery. We know what the Vancouver Surge were doing, right? Like they're building a team or they're trying to keep a budget, like build a good roster, with kind of like the scraps and players from challengers. And it was a tough showing for these guys. Obviously, they played a really strong opponent. On that map number 1, I thought they had a little bit of life to kick things off, Ben. Lurks looked good. He had like Legend looked good early on. Had a couple of big plays, but it just got away from them. Lose this series 3-0. What's your take on the Surge?
I didn't really expect anything from Surge this stage. So I think this is one of those orgs that I think, they tried this combination of 4, and I think they were always going to rotate 1 or 2 players out. And I was kind of trying to be like, the thing with an org like this is like, I know they're going to be uncompetitive to start the year. What do they do in the middle of the year after Major 1 to try and get competitive? I think my read after seeing them play at Monster Invitational now this opening weekend is like, I think Wynn's obviously very talented, needs to continue to develop, but like, the talent's still there from what we saw when he was on Carolina.
Yeah.
Legend struggling, but I mean, I'm giving him a little bit just to figure out what his game is. But if he's still dropping these 0.8s after Major 1, they're in a very tough spot there. I think Abe's solid.
Yeah.
Just my last thought is that I'm gonna be honest with you, Ant. Nothing I've seen from Lunars last year. I know Gentlemates is a absolute clown show when he was there. But like nothing I've seen from him so far this year makes me think that that spot's safe either. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, I don't like to just like straight shit on the kid, but I was out on Lunars last year. I don't think I saw enough. I think he's like a decent, like, I don't know, like maybe bottom of the middle of the pack AR player that would need really, really elite players around him. And yeah, he's also the guy probably tasked with being the leader of this team, which is also of concern. Uh, and then the second part of that, when we're talking about Legend, which is probably the main story here, is you got to give that guy time. I mean, I
Yeah.
was talking with Joe, Clint, Puckett, Allie in the green room about it a little bit. Like, bro, when we first teamed with Formal, like it took a little bit. Like like when the guys switch over from a different title and they're immensely talented like that, they have to like get the swing of things. It's a whole different pace. Like COD is really fast paced. You got to think, and nowadays, like you're flying around, right? So I think you got to give him a little bit of time. I do think this will probably be one of the first teams to make a roster change, especially with like how behind they are right now. I could see them losing like a lot. Like I don't even know.
But here's a problem.
The
Man.
schedule is
like
like
their schedule is tough. But here's
yeah.
my problem with them is like, yeah, if you go to the top, you can filter. You go all the way to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And you see where it says select team. You can just filter by the matches they play.
Yeah, it's not gonna get easier, guys. Like,
bro, the problem with this Vancouver team is you knew Legend had some time to like. You need some time to figure it out. So why didn't you put a veteran on this team? Like the person
that's
with
the problem,
most experience in CDL is their coach. I think Ricky's a solid coach. Ricky Atura is a solid coach, but like they need like instead of Lunars, I feel like they should have found an AR with experience that could like kind of help these guys because they have to figure out how to get ahead, like understand the game before the people and give themselves an opportunity to like maybe overperform a major one. Instead, like I think they're just kind of chasing everybody while trying to get used to the game.
So I agree with you on the like maybe getting a veteran thing, but there's also some players out there, Ben, that like would have just made this team out the gates at least firepower wise a lot better.
Like who?
Like Geo, like people like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Geo Overloaders, I agree with.
Like for me, that's just kind of like just a bad decision for them. So currently, when I look at this team, all I think is untapped potential and legend. Gotta see where he goes, and then Gwyn is in purgatory. Like I actually, that's kind of just how I look at it. I think Gwyn is immensely talented. I know he's been criticized before playing, selfish a bit, but Gwyn has never really had a good team. So I'd be interested to see, once these guys get up to speed, Legend, Abe gets some more reps, and maybe if they do end up making a swap for Lunars, where this team could go. Because I do think individually they have some shooters on the team.
This is, if you're Gwyn, this is a type of year where he's going to be in hell all year. Like, I just don't, I'm saying, like, there are going to be so many good teams in the league. Maybe Vancouver backs into like one top 6, maybe a lucky top 4 this year. Sometimes the draw can be really favorable.
Yeah.
But I think this year he needs to, if I were him, this is a year to develop on the issues you have as a player, like making those plays for the win that he's been criticized about, like developing that piece of your game. Because when some of these top teams inevitably want to make changes, we know about probably a super team or two will form in the offseason because everybody's free this year.
Yeah.
Like he has an opportunity to get in the mix in one of those better teams.
100%.
So he solves that. People are going to notice. They're going to be like, oh, well, Gwyn's already a shooter, but now he's making plays for the win and solo winning the maps. Man, I got to get him on my squad.
Yeah.
He's going to run a sub or an AR.
Yeah, he needs to be locked in, man. He needs to impress some folks and get ready for that. Also, Challengers is very healthy this year. There's going to be a lot of players that are in some good development there. Obviously, we have Challengers at every event. Would not be surprised.
A banger this year.
Yeah, it's a banger, bro. We would not be surprised. Would not be surprising if they make some moves early on and grab some players from down there. But moving on, the Carolina Royal Ravens lost 1-3 to the Boston Breach, with their only map win being a 6-5 Scar S&D. Slasher posted a negative stat line in all 3 respawns and had the lowest damage in the lobby. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let me pull up their match versus Boston. So yeah, let's go ahead. You can lead this one off. Go ahead, Ben.
There's another team that I didn't expect when we were talking preseason. Like, what do I think about Carolina? I didn't expect them to like pop off a major one. I think the MO for this team, and where I still see the potential with them, is that Craze and Lurks are shooters. Yeah. Like those guys, but when those guys get going, like they're going to be hard to stop. Outside of some of the top teams, they're just going to have really good teamwork. The problem with this team is just Nero and Slasher, I think, are just specifically Austin, I just think didn't play particularly good this weekend. So I think it's just going to be Carolina's issue. I can see them maybe getting 2 or 3 wins this stage, but they're going to be presented with a situation after Major One of like, we have two good sub players. How do we surround talent around them to like actually do something this season? You know what I'm saying?
100%. I mean, that's my homemade point with this team, and I talked about it on broadcast. Is like they're just going to get AR diffed in a lot of series, and you can see the first example is this series. Now, the numbers might be a little bit small, but look at what Nasty and Cammy did to these guys. I mean, just absolutely taking over. I mean, Nasty went positive 25. Cammy had a whopping 11,400 damage. Like, and then the ARs on the other side, just a bad performance. So for them, I mean, obviously it's early. You're trying to learn each other. This Boston team is the core three has been together since EWC year before last, right? So they definitely have a leg up there. But yeah, for Carolina, these maps were close. I mean, they lost a very close den and a close exposure hardpoint.
Yeah, but the Overload den was a disgusting abomination of a map played by both teams. I mean, like that is not how Overload den should get played.
Well, you gotta give Overload another week or so, Ben. I think people are still getting confused by OT rules in Overload. Truth be told, so
no, 100%. We saw that in the Faze series against Thieves, but it's like and I've been harping on in the watch parties. I'm getting memed by Karma and JP about it every day.
Yeah,
but like you watch OpTic play Overload, they constantly move the EMP around lane to different lane to create space behind the blockers that are pushing out, right? Because they know that people overload the lanes in which the EMP is in, so they use that to abuse. But I was watching Carolina and Boston this map just run forward no matter where the EMP was, and it just ended up being this like headbutt on B bomb site the entire effing map, and I was like losing composure.
Well, it gets, and speaking from just playing the game a lot, like it gets kind of frustrating in game where you're like, especially when you have a pistol now with the ball, where it's always constantly like calling for help and people trying to make sure you just keep ball possession and not exactly setting up plays, and that's kind of what's differentiating the teams right now in Overload. And then, like you said with OpTic, like they're just constantly creating like misdirection and like when they have the ball, like they're in control the entire time. So for this matchup in specific, yeah, I mean, it was a nutty one, but we're gonna get a couple more of those till teams get more comfortable. That's just the nature of when a new mode gets added. But yeah, I feel like for this Carolina team, it's just gonna be an AR problem. Like unless Slasher completely elevates his game or Nero gets to another level, like what AR duo are you taking? Like, are you taking this AR duo over any other AR duo in the league? Is there another one?
Maybe Vancouver, but that's close.
Yeah, right. Maybe. So they're in a really tough spot, right? I thought Lurks had some good plays, Ben. Lurks look good, like individually.
Yeah, it's a golden child right there.
Yeah. And let's look at their schedule. So.
Yeah, I forget who they play.
Like, if they don't win this Falcons match, I mean, all three of these matches are winnable right here for Ravens. Realistically,
they only have 2 games. Hold on, they only have 2 games in December. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Wait, that's egregious. How? Wait, hold on. CDL scheduling. What are we doing here?
This is great for the Ravens. If you're a Ravens fan, this is huge.
Yeah, because they only played 2 games. They got 5 to get back. But like, how did that happen in the schedule? How are they going to play 2 games before the break?
I mean, listen, they have to win. They have to win these next 3 matches because you end with Koi, Texas, and Thieves, right? So
yeah, they're cooked.
So I mean, this match this weekend is massive, not only for like confidence, just like to get a dub on the board, and then coming out of the holiday break, you got another 2 winnable games. Miami didn't look too difficult to beat, and then G2, they're a hard win, but definitely winnable. Right now, G2's winning through their search and destroys. So yeah, for Carolina, Slasher, Nero, those are the guys I'll be looking at, Ben, going forward.
Yeah, we got to see because the sub duo's got potential, and those guys are going to develop nicely over the course of the year. But it's going to be a conversation of who can we surround around them. I mean, I didn't think Nero played too terrible. AR Nero definitely.
They just but the other ARs just popped off crazy. That's like.
But I just think we're going to be close to a call about Austin here very soon, man. Like, which will be very disappointing, but it is what it is.
We'll see. Never count Austin out. He typically does bounce back. Okay, so moving on. C9 New York lost a Game 5 series to G2 where they won both hard points. In the Search and Destroy, they lost a total round count 12-5. So let's pull this game up. Here. All right, so this was a match I was very excited for in the preseason. Both these teams look pretty good.
Yeah.
And the C9 team, you can tell, was hungry. At the end of the year last year, when Mac and Vivid got thrown down to challengers, obviously that Mama and Craze
Yeah.
team, like both those guys look great. And I've been thinking Afro's needed a spot since early last year. And
Yeah.
Afro delivered. The series absolutely delivered. And even in these losses, the stat line looks way worse, like the 6-2 and 6-3, than the maps actually were. If you go
Yeah.
back and you watch this, I actually didn't hate a lot of the strategies and like early round looks that C9 were giving G2. The only thing is, if you go to this map 5, Kremp had 5 bloods, and it still was coming down to a lot of clutch rounds. So obviously that's a bit of an area of concern. But talk to me about what you think about the C9 team and kind of what they showed you.
I think for C9, I think this is the team that they're going to be fighting for all season to get probably that second or last champ spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think for C9, I mean, it's exactly what I expected from Afro. Like he was a shooter when he was in the CDL the last couple of years. I know he took a year off when he was, dropped and had to play challengers last year and was by far and away the best player in EU challengers last year and would have gotten picked up last year if visas weren't impossible to get. So him coming in the league and probably putting together good performances consistently, like I'm not surprised. I thought Mac actually was pretty good in this series,
Yeah.
and I won't be surprised if Mac has an up year, which would be great because I really want to see Mac succeed after a couple of situations where he just was forcing the tough roles. The questions for C9 for me are, AR Reese and Ben Beans is just inconsistent. Like I love Ben, but Ben is so up and down from map to map, series to series. And I just don't know in the CDL if you can just it's so hard to have a player that's just a big X factor like that. Like if they don't give you a consistent floor, like it's gonna be really tough for C9 to, get enough T6s consistently to like actually qualify for champs, like, make it deep at every event and not just be like where Minnesota's been the last couple of years. We're just the ninth best team. What does that get you?
Yeah.
You don't go to champs, you get a bad seat at EWC and you're out in groups, like the whole year's kind of a waste. So we'll see.
This team
There's
reminds
potentially
me.
with C9.
This team reminds me of like the Boston team from last year. Kind of looking at it.
Yeah.
And I will say the one thing that like bodes well for them, at least early on from what I saw, is the pace they play at. I mean, if you watch G2 series from like preseason to this series to the OpTic series, like they play extremely fast, and it was giving OpTic a lot of problems on the map 1 that they ended up beating them on. And you look at C9 when it was getting mixy, like they were making the plays. I mean, they won both these hard points. Even Beans had himself some moments on the Colossus where he ended up picking up that Hellstorm. Like you said, he just goes on these wild like streaks where he's untouchable, and then for like 2 hills he's just not doing anything. And I don't like for Beans. I don't know. He's got to get rid of it. It's been a lingering thing for like his whole career, because I do think Beans is a really good player. I mean, there's been times where he's led the league in damage for a split. But yeah, I think this team is a middle of the pack team, maybe like a dark horse team. I don't know if we'll see them too many Sundays, but if they can clean up their search and destroy a little bit, like I said, I like the early looks in some of the rounds and not surrender 5 first bloods to one player, then they have a chance. It's not it wasn't the worst look on week 1.
Here's my thing is my thing on Ben is I think you could tell with the way he plays, like he wears emotions on the sleeve, and that may affect him. That's probably why it makes sense sometimes he's just kind of map to map.
Here's some of chat. I'm talking about the G2 match versus OpTic, how fast that they played. And I'm saying the C9 team outpaced the G2 team in both of the hard points.
He also squared on them with double Colossus, which we've seen no other team want to do with G2. And I think when we talk about G2, I think that's potentially a big weakness in their map pool. But anyway, I think C9 is just, to your point, can they get consistency out of Ben? Again, I think that the way that Ben plays with his, again, motions on his sleeve may lead to some of that up and down. But I think for C9, like if they can, they're the kind of team that like, if they can just get into winner's bracket at a given event, like it's not impossible for them to get hot and get a top 4 because they have the talent to do it. I just think more often than not is a team that's going to struggle to beat teams above them, but with teams at their level, start and losers bracket, and it's like 50-50, they get like top 8 or top 12. Yeah, that's just going to be kind of their MO.
Let's take a look at their schedule and see what like their road to winners bracket would potentially be. So they have a matchup versus So they have 2 more matches in December this next weekend. It's gonna be a big weekend.
Vancouver, Miami. Okay, it's doable.
Yeah, Vancouver, Miami, both doable. They should win this game, and I would say they should be probably the favorite going into this Miami series.
Yeah, but Miami could have beaten Toronto. That the Miami Toronto series we'll talk about.
We're gonna get into that one. That series was wild. Miami
Weird
just kind of they were hanging by a thread. But then you got the
C9 have a good schedule.
Yeah, they do. They have a favorable schedule. I mean, both these matches are favorable. Tough one in these two here. I mean, if you can get one of these upsets, either Gentlemates or Faze, and you're kind of vibing here, right? So this next 2 matches will be huge. I would say they probably need to win both of those. And then by the time January 24th rolls around, I'm imagining Falcons will be a lot better at that point in time.
Actually.
You're out on Falcons, bro.
I'm out on Falcons. I don't know why you're holding on to belief that a team is still gonna be good, bro. Like,
I mean, I mean, I think you're kind of looking at it from like top 4 perspective, but I mean, versus a team like C9 or G2 or Carolina, it's like I don't think it's out of their own possibility. They come in and just whoop one of those teams. But yeah, C9 New York. That's those guys. Let's move on. Miami Heretics were on the back foot to Toronto Koi, but somehow pushed to a game 5 where they fell 6-3. Trake started things off with a stinker going 11-22, bounced back in the 2 maps they won, posting the second highest damage on the team. A team that I was very excited to watch. Miami Heretics, one of the best stories from last year. They have consistently brought in talent, and it has worked out. They've been great at that. Shout out to their management. Super Rancor last year, and now Trakes. I thought it was awesome how resilient he was. Like that map 1, bro, he got fried. Like, and they got cooked.
He got cooked.
Bounced back immediately. And this is why I said hang on by a thread. Like they lost 8-0 in that exposure overload. Like it was not good.
They didn't know what they were doing on the map, bro. That map was over after the first 30 seconds.
I will say my takeaway from this series is just Miami Heretics. I'm not sure like how much preparation they had leading into it, but they looked like really far behind on the maps that they lost. And I
could have won last map.
Yeah,
they could have won the last map. They scammed 2 extremely winnable like situations on offense. One where bomb was down, they just inexplicably chowed spawn, and then another one where they were at B and they just all chowed to a dojo and just got gunned like deep in a dojo. It wasn't even like we're just chowing like that main room in dojo. Like they hit the hallway like they're trying to cap an overload point. They don't scam both those rounds, and they would have been on match point. So
I think that this is like a good sign for Miami, though. Obviously, this Koi team is star-studded. They're able to take that den, which honestly was pretty comfortable the whole time. Like they look good there. The overload's concerning though, because if you guys remember, what was the problem with Miami last year for a large majority of the year? It was control, and that was kind of like what separated them. And they started to figure it out a little bit more towards the end, but it took a while. So for Miami, like it's all hands on deck, like figure out overload. I know it's only 1 match, but I'm just looking back to like the history of this team, kind of what they've dealt with. You got to be good at the 3rd game mode, man. Like potential in this series. 8-0 is a bad look, man.
Yeah, but I think to your point, like from my understanding, like I don't think that they all got in the States and scrimmed together until like a couple of days before these matches. They've had visa issues, and some of it, from my understanding, is just like when they picked everybody up, like booking visa appointments, right? If you have an existing P1 or getting a new P1, you have to go to that consulate, the US consulate, do the interview, hand them your passport. Then they say, it takes a couple of days, and they hand your passport back with the visa and say, hey, you're good to come in the country. The problem is getting those appointments are really tricky. They've killed, and over the course of the last 8 years, like eliminated a lot of State Department staff that ran those interviews. So it's just harder and harder to get.
Mm-hmm.
And again, by the time they all completed, like it didn't. It took until like last week essentially already to get in. So you can tell they're definitely behind. But I'm not worried about this team in Overload because weirdly enough, when I look at their team personnel in Overload, like someone like Metals, I think with how aggressive he plays, he's not always the most consistent, but how aggressive he plays, like I think they'll figure out Overload. But them being behind a hard point's a big problem. So we'll see. Miami's the team. I'm curious, Ant, if they're gonna stay here during Christmas break. Like, are they going to pull a Faze and just be the hardest grinding team the next 3 or 4 weeks after this weekend and just like catch up during that period.
I mean, they absolutely. I mean, they have to, right? This Trakes guy's got to get comfortable, which we started to see that as the series went on a little bit. And the search and destroy for them was a game mode that they could hang their hat on, where they were, dominant at, quite frankly, last year, which gave them a huge edge, especially that's basically how they were able to upset a lot of the top teams. And for them, this first match versus Koya, another team that we kind of anticipate being a good search team, like you won the 6-5 and you lose the game 5. So yeah, they gotta get some search reps and some overload reps. But I'm not super worried about this Miami team. I think they got the makings to kind of emulate what they did last year.
Yeah, they just need practice. And I don't know if this may just be kind of a wash a little bit stage for them, or one of those stages where they just what's their schedule? Can you pull it up?
Yeah, let's
maybe they just sneak in a winner's bracket and then they like kind of figure it out by the end of January. And if they get top 6, it's not awful, considering the situation.
So they have OpTic, C9, Carolina, and they have Surge. Yeah, I mean they have a favorable schedule. Like it's not anything crazy.
They play OpTic this weekend. C9. The C9 match is big.
Big.
They can't going in an 0-3 hole. It's gonna be tough.
I mean, you got to win these 3, right? You got to win these 3, and then one of these probably.
Yeah, but if you go 1-1 this week and you're 1-2 after 3 matches, and you have Carolina, Vancouver, and Boston, you feel pretty good.
Yeah, you feel pretty good.
Winners bracket theoretically,
and I feel
they got to find a way to get one of these wins.
Yeah, because I feel pretty good about Miami after this break. You know what I mean? So they have to. This is a huge weekend for them. They got to go 1-1, and I don't see them beating OpTic. So C9 is a must-win game.
It's just going to be, if you're Vancouver, or sorry, not Vancouver, sorry, if you're Miami, like their S&D look good in that series against Toronto on both the S&D maps. I just think you gotta do a little bit what Faze does. You're weak in one mode, you gotta kind of find a way to win these series, probably through a Neslo. And then once you're up on all 3 game modes, like that's when your talent really shine. I agree with you. I still think this Miami team can be good.
Yep.
But I think people got to temper their expectations just because they're really far behind right now.
Yep. And they still went to a game 5, so that's a good sign. Miami fans should be excited about their team, and they should be excited about their young rookie.
What do you think about this whole Aroma X Trake beef on Twitter?
Yeah. So what's the deal with that? Did they play with each other in challenges or something?
I think apparently like something happened in the off season and Trakes was shit talk. I don't know. The breakdown I got from my chat is that like there was some combos between Aroma and Trakes on Twitter on Twitch over the off season, on top of the like Heretics, like KOI beef from the summer. And so Gabe's just been kind of like Gabe Aroma has just been kind of trolling on Twitter for the last 2 months.
Yeah, he's been hard trolling.
Like just said to, yeah, he's been hard trolling, which understandable. Like he's kind of like he's the brand ambassador for that team, but like he's close to all those boys, and like Metals, the coach, Method 6, sorry, the coach of Heretics had some choice words for him after the series.
The translation was crazy.
I would say this, like I think that the funny thing is I feel like both of them are kind of ego challenging. Like you could argue maybe Aroma shouldn't be saying the stuff he's saying, but he's a content creator. Like he's just going to put stuff out there. Method 6 trying to defend his boys, but like just ignore Gabe. Like you're giving him attention.
Yeah,
I think what he wants. So
I think the whole beef it's funny and stuff, but on the real side of it, I think the response that Methods gave was a little aggressive. I'll be honest. At least the translation I saw.
Funny. The translation was insane.
I mean, it was
the translation was insane.
It's a little aggressive and also kind of like, hey man, Jakes, you're gonna have to deal with some shots, man. If you map 1, like that's just how it goes. So I will say his resilience in game and the way he played looked like that type of stuff won't really affect him at all. But yeah, it looks like they're just trying to protect him, which is he's got a good environment around him. They got a brotherhood over there, man. All those guys are great friends on Miami.
Yeah, I just think this rivalry there's more twists and turns in this one this season. Like this is a banger game 5, but I'm telling you, there's gonna be more bad blood and potentially some pushing and shoving on stage at some point this year with the squad. Yeah,
I mean the thing about Miami, Ben, is like last year, they were a really good team and they had the ability to beat the top teams. And a lot of that is and that's why Real was such a hot commodity in the offseason, is because of how talented he is. You did lose. I mean, you lost that, right? And you're hoping that, between Trakes and Metals, like one of those guys can get to that level. Like like I said, I'm not exactly worried about Miami being like a solid team, but to get to that point or maybe ascend past that point, one of those guys is gonna have to be like a super shooter with the
Yeah,
SMG. Um,
I 100% agree with
and
that.
and I mean that's yet to be seen, right? So I think if you're a Miami fan, that's kind of what you're waiting for. But yeah, let's move on. Go to the next one. So Faze Vegas went 1-1 on the weekend with a crushing 3-0 loss to the Thieves, following that up with a 3-2 over the Gentlemates. Sip popped off with a 1.26 in the series despite having lost both hardpoints. Faze did not win a hardpoint on opening weekend.
Yep.
Um,
they look awful on hardpoint.
Yeah, so I'll kick things off here. Let me pull this up for Faze Vegas.
Like,
I got two things.
Up, like,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let me pose a question to you. Like, if you had told Faze Vegas in the offseason, looking at like these two matches you were gonna have, if you were gonna walk away 1-1 on opening weekend, like you probably would have taken that, right? Despite like,
yeah,
how about they were on hardpoint, like 1-1 you take.
Yeah, I think 1-1 you take, and I would say even the way they did it, like here, let me pull up this match and the other match. The game 5 victory that they had in their second match.
Yeah.
This was impressive because I think they got 6 first bloods. Yeah, I mean they got every single first blood. This is probably outside of OpTic, the hottest team in the league, the Gentlemates, and you essentially straight up silenced them. The Overload, 0-4 and Simp popped off here. I'll pull up the stats. I mean, this is everything you hope for if you're a Faze fan. If you're Simp, this is everything you wanted. The ability to like come in, dominate the search and destroys, take over in the Overload, kind of knowledge gap them there, and then in the game 5 to get every single first blood. I think if you're Faze, you are extremely happy with how this weekend went, given the schedule that you had.
Yeah, they have a tough schedule, and they're just hardpoint is just so. Look, their S&D's good. Again, the S&D I saw this weekend, the Thieves series, they kind of blew that map. They blew the same S&D again against Steve Scar S&D when they played them at the case on land. Like, but I think the S&D concepts for Faze are really good. Their situationals are really good. I was very critical about potentially Abuza's search going this season. Doesn't seem to be an issue. So I was wrong about that one. We'll talk about Zach in a bit, draws, but the hard point just looks awful right now. And I think Rambo Ray put it best, and I'm curious your thoughts. This feels like as a team, they're too slow in the game mode and hard point right now.
Oh, I agree. I think that with this roster, this AR duo, they started off really slow in these matches. And in some of these hard points, I think in the second match, like Abuza started 4-11. Draza was kind of getting mixtaped. And it's just like, those are the guys, like they got to develop some chemistry. I think, in hardpoint, like there was always somewhat of an issue with Draza and Celium, but like just the talent of that roster, they were kind of, able to overcome it for the most part. But I get the feeling that Draza's just not the easiest AR to play with. And it might be similar for Abuza as well. So I think that's going to be the work in progress with this team. Is like getting those guys on the same page, figuring out what each other likes to do, and kind of who's going to be the guy that's like really pushing pace.
I mean, I'm gonna give you a little bit of this, and I want to talk about this more in our last segment. It's like I think Draws, the way he plays hardpoint right now, it just looks super unconfident to me because he always ends up being a self-sacrifice guy that's kind of holding these like really tough pinch timing, kind of like gap fill situations, which are just in general just very tough. They're just very tough to play at that level. But he's not doing that in a fashion that seems very comfortable. And like for example, they got slammed on that exposure because it was really close until P2 on exposure, the tank kill, where he rotated early. They had pushed out the P4 side, so Abuza was playing like the inner lane, and Zach was tweaking about outer lane and someone coming from mid cut when he should just play the mid cut kill. Like you're trying to watch two lanes, and I get it.
Hold mid cut, and like
just hold mid cut, and if the guy comes out, or you just finesse around the tank until Abuza comes and helps you out. Instead, he gets killed. Abuza dies because he's now like in hell, and they spawn out, get slammed for 2 hills straight, and that's how the map blew out. Like it came down to, I don't want to say it came down to 1 kill because they could still break the hill, but like I think Zach's lack of confidence right now is killing them in the team floor situations because he's not getting kills, he's not getting doubles, and in these rotation situations where he can't guarantee a kill, it's really tough.
Yeah, and then also like Abuza on this team, I would say is probably like the fail safe, the guy that's gonna have to make like right play at the right time. And the one time he was kind of asked to do that to clutch a map for them was the overload where they lost, and he was kind of on ball reset and just blacked out and ran all the way over towards P2 tank and went to go help his teammate Solar. So I think the ARs to me were the biggest issue throughout both these matches. I think if they're able to win that overload, who knows what happens in that series? Like momentum was shifting, and we've seen what 04 and Simp can do. So yeah, to me, Phaser in a good spot. They went 1-1. Let's go pull up their schedule. Hardpoint is
they have
definitely
the world's hardest schedule this stage. I mean, for Faze fans, it's just gonna it gets easier after this for them. But like they got in general this year, I think they have the hardest schedule this year of any team.
Yeah, they're 1-1. This is a big match for Koi. I'd say this is a 50-50 OpTic match. That's gonna be tough. And that is after the break. That is after the break though, for Faze.
Yeah.
So not the worst. But then they end things out with C9, G2, and Surge. So I mean, I don't think you're super worried about Faze not making it into winners. But this Koi match is pretty important.
If they beat Toronto, I mean, even if they drop one of the matches against C9, G2, or Vancouver, they'll still be like probably 4-3, and like that's fine. They got, again, we maybe are. The tough thing is Gentlemates just kind of formed, and they just looked like they're all on the same page. And you look at a team like Faze that also made 2 changes, because I consider Dan and Envoy joining with 2 other players, like 2 changes, I guess.
Yep.
It just feels like Gentlemates guys were kind of know how they want to play respawn together, whereas the Faze guys is kind of not there. Yeah, I think the S&D is good. I have some thoughts on draws, and I'm saving them to the end. We'll get there.
Are you worried about the chemistry between Abuza and Draza long term on this team?
No, because I think they're both hard workers. I'm not worried about the chem. I just think it'll be fixed if Zach just plays better. Like at the end of the day, look at all the elite teams, right? I think Dan Gossey's kind of the flex player on Gentlemates. You've got a Merc on OpTic. Who are their top teams? Thieves. Yeah. Like I guess Scrap or Ken is sort of the you need that second AR. The guy who's not going to be the slowest AR to be like a playmaker. There are times where that guy is going to be
that needs to be Draws. He needs to be the
that
playmaker.
Guy's got to be a hard fucking kill on the map sometimes. Because think about what your sub player does in this game, right? If you look at the way OpTic plays, the way that Faze is trying to play with Simp, like you're giving one of the subs like green light to pinch. There's a lot of 3v4, 2v4x situations until we collapse from all angles. Like that AR has to be a tougher kill.
Especially in the current meta and how you can play with M15. Like Josh, he has to be in the mix, and he has to be a tough kill. And yeah, they're just gonna that would be my one worry is do Abuza and Draza gel long term. Like I said, I think that was the whole goal. Without exactly talking to the camp, just kind of the way they built this roster is like, everybody's gonna work really really hard. We're gonna figure out our issues and kind of get through them. And I think you can see that reflection in the player cams and kind of the tweets from Simp and things like that. Like he seems really happy on this team, which is a good sign, and that's reflecting in his play as well. Because Simp is balling, bro. Like Simp he started off this year reminding everybody who he is. So, I mean, they have Simp on their team. I'm not super worried about them, but we'll see going forward. All right, let's move on.
The last thought, and just real quick is I saw them scrim in person a week or so ago because I was there for Case Online. So I talked to the team a lot, and Chris and RJ in particular. And I think one thing to keep in mind with this team is last year, obviously they had a slow start, 1-2 straight events, and then it kind of petered out at the end. And I think they're very concerned this year with being less focused on. I mean, you still want results, but the process needs to be good enough that
it needs to be easily repeatable.
Great spot at the end of the year. Yeah, and so that's why I wouldn't worry about them because I think they're all on the same page about that. And I don't think I have any concerns that any one of these 4 guys are bro, Abuza and Draws have been in 8s every single night. 04, is always grinding as well. I know
he's Chris such a baller, bro. I know he's in chat right now. 04 is so damn good at Call of Duty, bro. I will say, I know the hard points things that could go their way. That overload with him and Simp, that's right there. That's exactly what I envision that duo being. Is just 04 is an annoying ass tough kill, and then Simp is just on any day can be the best in the game, right? So you get that dynamic going on, and it should just lead to great things for that AR duo. They'll figure it out as time goes on. Will it be here in Major 1? get to,
you know. I think for Faze, you're going to see the best of them, Major 2, Major 3. I think Major 1 is just as always going to be with the schedule and just a new team. Just how do they kind of gel? But I think there's still a lot of potential with the squad. So,
all right, guys, big shout out to Carter Shade in the chat. Does a lot of things behind the scenes at Esports Engine or EFG. And let's
he
move
also
on.
runs the Breakdown podcast, the official Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
He does.
Make sure you check that out because it's a good pod. Out of the Cavs right now. Cavs are kind of mid-pack. Last year they were good. This year, next couple of months are real big.
Yeah, it's the chase down, not the breakdown.
Chase. Did I say the breakdown? God.
This guy's got Call of Duty brain, bro.
Fuck, man. My bad. L. Reed, bro.
All right, so let's move on.
The breakdown is what the Cavs do in the playoffs anyway, but we can move on.
So G2 won a Game 5 over Cloud9 New York, winning both S&Ds. Kremp had 5 first bloods Game 5. They followed that up with a 1-3 loss to OpTic, where they went up 1-0 in a shocking Map 1 victory, but lost 6-5 Map 2, giving all momentum up to the world champs. All right, so G2 had a fantastic preseason. I think they surprised a lot of people. I think Sky's preseason played pretty well. And I think everybody at this point knows, at least early on right now, this sub-duo works. This sub-duo works. They look good. A couple of the hard points got away from them in that first series, but you know, throughout it, they look pretty decent. I'll pull up the stat box on Breaking Point on this one. But I like this G2 team, bro. I really do. It reminds me of like every Minnesota team ever. But I do think that they have a pretty high ceiling. And showing the ability to close out this Game 5 and what Kremp's just been showcasing, this could be a career year for Kremp.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're sub-dual. I think we got to give Estriel some gas because in this series in particular, like he was unkillable. So as much as we've given gas to Kremp, if Estriel doesn't play the way he played, dropping almost 115 kills in 5 maps, like I don't think that they win this series. But I think their sub-duo is very, very good. And that's going to be the backbone of this team's success this year. It's a question of what do you get from Caesar consistently? Because honestly, the last couple of years with Caesar, he's been super up and down. We saw it last year with him getting dropped off of 2 teams. And Mamba, obviously, a rookie in the league. My only other thing I'm looking to see with C9 or with G2 Minnesota is, bro, people are not going to want to play them on Kremp losses, right? So C9.
What did you call it? Kremp losses?
Kremp losses, bro.
No, I said it before the map.
Minnesota playing Kremp losses, like. You know, they've got a couple of maps, Raid S&D as well, another map that they should have beaten OpTic on.
No, they're good at that. They're good at that.
They scammed 2 bad rounds against OpTic and probably should have gone up 2-0 in that series, to be honest, because Shotzi was on Mars.
So on those 2 rounds, I mean, they just blew it. Like, that's kind of what, you know, when you talk about beating a team like OpTic, like right there, you go up 2-0, you're in a great spot if you're G2. And I think that's a good sign. I don't think they're going to choke those that often. And then also, chat, we're getting the Epic Pen Pad, so we'll be breaking down clips in future episodes, like rounds like that in the Overload. But back to G2. To your point, Estriel has been sensational so far. Just that sub-duo in general. And they have some lockdown maps. Like, I would not want to play that sub-duo on Colossus. There's no way.
No, I gotta get that map out of here when you play them.
What's the ceiling for this team in your eyes? Because I think this team has the ability to make a couple Sundays.
I think the ceiling for them is they're good enough to get to that losers finals match. Maybe if the right draw, like we saw with some G2 teams, like those BenJ teams, that they can get the right draw on winners and maybe get to winners finals. I just don't think that they're good enough to win that winners or losers finals. It's kind of serious to get into an actual like grand final. But I think this team is very capable of like theoretically getting top 3 in the event.
Yeah. And I think they showed like that they have the ability to compete in all the game modes. I mean, we saw the first series, the Overload looked really clean. Mamba looked solid in that game mode, which is good.
They looked terrible in the Overload on this map against OpTic.
They did. Bro. But OpTic just dominates everybody in Overload.
But they were doing some criminally stupid stuff in that map, though. Like, they would wipe OpTic, and they were just leaving the EMP, like, sitting in their base instead of, like...
Well, because
I don't know I don't know if they tilted after the S&D, but, like, bruh.
I mean, you just got to make quick decisions. And they're not sure if they wanted to wrap it or how they want to play those moments. Like I said with Overload, Ben, I think you are being a little aggressive. I'm telling you, in a couple of weeks, there's going to be some stark differences in how these guys are playing this. That's just how it always develops, man.
I would hope so, or I'm gonna start cooking motherfuckers again because
Guys,
I
Ben,
think
before the
way to play
show,
this is so obvious, bro. Like
Ben before the
Needless.
show has been all over Overload. Like I'm telling you, Ben, you got to give him
I've been
some
in
time.
the watch parties, bro. It's been the joke in the watch parties. I'm just like, from day one we were watching this, I was like, Overload, like, bro, people, like, it's so obvious on how to play this the right way, and people just aren't doing it.
I mean, yeah, you want ball possession, set up some misdirection, kind of juke them out a bit, but you also have to set up pinches in order to score. It's just not always going to go that way. I mean, when you're in game in Overload, it can be very stressful. Things are kind of hectic, and it's really fast. So it'll slow down for these teams in a couple weeks, probably after the holiday break. But for G2, I'll echo that. I think that this is a team that is a dark horse squad that can make some runs to some Sundays. I think Skies has shown some promise with the sniper in his hands and search and destroy. Mamba's been pretty consistent, and the sub duo is right now in the upper half of the league. They've been balling. So, back here.
The only thing
let's look at their schedule.
Is just, can they, against some of these better teams, be really good on maps that are not named Colossus? Because Raid S&D, they've looked really good the 2 times we've seen them play. Scar and Den and maps like that where they might get AR diffed is like where I see potentially some concern. But you look at the schedule, like Boston, Falcons, Carolina are all winnable. And then they close out with Faze in Toronto. Like I just, it's very doable for the G2 team to play great at Major 1. Like it's not, they're the team of those like C9 Boston, like those pack of squads that I'm the most high on right now.
So if you talk to Looney about it, like the biggest thing that they wanted with this team is like just a team of guys that's going to work really, really hard. And I think it is built that way. Like all these guys, like Mamba's just coming into the league. He's super hungry. Kremp and Estrio, like they want to remain in the league. They haven't had the most success. So, and then you got Skies coming back in. So, so far so good for G2. We got to see going forward. They have Boston, then they have Falcons. They have a really, really relaxed schedule. I mean, they're already 1-1, right? So gotta win this match versus Boston, and then you gotta follow that up with a win versus the Falcons. And I think that this match versus Boston won't be easy, but they're definitely the favorite versus Falcons.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Next up, we got the Paris Gentlemates. They 3-0'd Vancouver Surge swiftly to kick off their opening weekend, then followed that up with a Game 5 loss to Faze Vegas. They struggled in the S&Ds, falling 3-6, and then 0-6 on Game 5, surrendering 6 first bloods in a row. That is the number one worry with this team is their search and destroy, which is weird because in the preseason and in their first match, their search looked like it was going to be in the upper echelon of the league. You get into this series and kind of everybody's number one fear with the Gentlemates kind of came to fruition. What were your thoughts on Gentlemates opening weekend and more specifically the match versus Faze Vegas?
Well, last year Gentlemates were an unmitigated shit show from day one of the game, so this is definitely an improvement off of that.
They were very bad.
Like they were getting Hoop mixtape off the rip in scrims last year, and it didn't get any better after that. This year, these guys are like right now, top favorites for Major 1. They obviously beat OpTic at Case on Land 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
I thought this weekend, like it's just their respawn with this team. You can tell they're all have a really good understanding of how they want to play. Dan Ghosty's playing particularly well. Respawn.
I've become the Dan Ghosty guy, Ben. I'm all in on Dan Ghosty. I think
I've always been all in.
I think he's sensational. It happened midway through last year. I think he's sensational, and Respawn especially, he's been unreal. And even with that loss to FaZe, you still have them as a favorite going into the event?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that the one limitation could be this team tilting in S&D, but I think their Respawn is good enough right now where they're just going to battle. They're going to battle with all the other top teams. It's just I don't want to with their search, because their search looked pretty good when they were playing like OpTic and a bunch of those finals at Monster Invitational and Case on Land. Like I don't think their S&D is terrible. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Faze Vegas on paper is always going to be a good search team.
But then the losses were bad. They were getting double naded off the ripper rounds. They surrendered 6 first bloods in a row. They're getting sniped like Abuza was cooking them. And then the overload, they got handled, brother. So I don't know. I to me, after that series, and this might be no reaction, I pumped the brakes on them just a little bit. Just because having a showing like that in search is extremely concerning. Extremely.
Yeah, but it's one series though, and honestly, like the problem with some of the early S&D with a team like Faze Vegas is like they're gonna just like Gentlemates, like their S&D prep's gonna be good, right? Like I think the big factor in that map on Den was the pre-nades that Faze were throwing. Like
Yeah, they died the same one
every
twice.
round, whatever Gentlemates got in defense was going like sliding out that left side bottom middle. They were just getting naded. Like and Abuza got 2 kills in instant 4v3, and from there.
Bro, it happened in 2 rounds.
Like
how are we getting the same spot, dying 2 different rounds?
Well, because one was they threw the nade so fast. You saw the round where Dante died; he could barely get the trophy out. Like that's okay. Like that's a give and go early. Is like you're gonna have to read when those nades are coming. And one thing in general with this game is maybe the earn rate on trophies should be a little bit higher. You don't get trophies at.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like round 4 is kind of like if you're like late round 3 or round 4, you get it. So. Yeah, that's something that they could definitely tweak. They're not running. They are running the overclock on the trophies. I think it's the only thing you run the overclock on.
Yeah, but like it's not gonna improve that earn rate. You can change that setting in private matches. So I know that there's been some discussion of maybe doing that, but we'll see. I mean, at the moment, I just don't think you earn your field upgrades like quick enough. But again, I'm not really super worried about that series for Gentlemates. I just think it was 2 good teams playing each other. Faze Vegas, Dirty Nezlode. In a match they needed to win. I think for Gentlemates, they've got a lot of really good tests. If you pull up their schedule, they've got a fun schedule this stage. And
so
I think they're gonna make winners bracket.
I'm a direct opposite of you. I'm worried about them versus like if they have to play a Faze late in the tournament.
Yeah.
Faze look way more prepared than them. Like, and you got to think a lot of these teams are going to catch up in hardpoint by the time the major actually comes around. I've just seen it all too often with some of the super teams that are very dominant at respawn. Relaxing early on and then having to lock in on search late. You know what I mean? We've seen that happen so often. Long term, I do think this team is gross. But I will say they need to put in a lot of work in this break to stay ahead. And particularly search and destroy because they got dissected, brother. If it was a 6-4 loss, I wouldn't be as concerned, but that was bad. And 04 said I was on my Bill Belichick. Yeah, I mean you were, bro. Whoever was calling the plays was absolutely dialed, my boy. Yeah, that's that first one we've kind of disagreed on.
Yeah, I just think Phases. The thing I like about Phases search game is that, and I think Gentlemates do this too. By the way, they're both very similar. Is like Abuza and Abuza and Dante get pretty active with the sniper as far as how aggressive they play, especially on Scar. Like they're willing to go up mid plane and like find those picks to help the team plant the bomb. Like they're not just going to be a slow play for picks type team. Like they will do a lot of different looks at you. I think with regards to Gentlemates is to your point. People will catch up to them in hard point. How they handle that. And the one ongoing threat we have about this team is the personalities. Once people catch up to them, and they're kind of maybe probably in that pack of all those really good teams, they continue to grind and play at this level, or they tilt and implode on each other, and that's where things go south. We just don't know. Yeah, but I'm in on Gentlemates right now.
Yeah,
great start to the season.
I'm in on Gentlemates. I've just pumped the brakes on like them being 1B to OpTic, as it stands right now. But we will go into them a little bit more because we are going to learn a ton about this team going forward. Their schedule's lit. They're gonna go up against the LA Thieves, which I mean it's kind of a 50-50 game as it stands right now. And then they have Cloud9 New York. Not exactly an easy win. And then Riyadh Falcons. Between these 3 games, we will learn a ton from this team, especially on the other side of the break. I would anticipate them coming out and being way better at their search and destroy then. But for now, still in the mix. All right, let's move on. So Toronto Koi edged out Miami Heretics in the Game 5 victory. Everyone on the team posted an even or better stat line, and they won Overload 8-0. Which was the difference. I'll let you kick this one off, Ben. What do you think about Toronto Koi coming into the series? And then maybe what do they convince you after?
I don't know what to think because they played 1 match this weekend and they arguably potentially could have lost it. I think talent, like, that's why, unfortunately, with the scheduling, I want to see them play like more matches, and they have 2 this weekend against Vancouver and Faze. So I think I'll have better thoughts after this weekend. I think like the biggest question I have is how does CleanX play in that flex role? Can he be as aggressive and as impactful as he was when he was running a full-time sub, and his ability to pull out a third sub they need, like, and be maybe the best third sub in the league.
Well, if the
Like,
meta changes to 3 subs, this team is going to be
they're be
impossible.
godlike.
It will be
Yeah,
godlike.
no,
And
really good.
the fact that Kleenex has the ability to run the AR, excuse me, at the level that he's at is, I mean, that's a testament to how good this guy is at Call of Duty. I mean, because I had some concerns about just the AR duo of Insight and Kleenex, not in particular like one specific player, just the AR duo versus the rest of the league's AR duos, and particularly like the top teams. I'm not that worried about it anymore after watching that. Insight looks a lot better at this game than last year, and Kleenex was moving, brother.
Yeah, the only thing with Jamie though is like the thing with Toronto, and I hate to say this, is like there's gonna be a hard team to read until we see them play at Major One, because I think the talent is like there. I think the schedule they have some. They have to play Faze, Thieves, and Gentlemates during the stage, so like those will be bangers. But like the MO last year with Toronto is they'd get to losers finals and then just it would all go south. Like it's the same thing. Like I think this team will be great online, but at an event, like, are they had that same ceiling? You know what I'm saying? Like, can they actually parlay this into getting a chance in a grand final? I think they can.
I think
they can with the squad.
This team's ceiling is high, bro. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like Real he's a pace setter. I think they have the roles down pat, like for what any meta that is thrown at them. And then in Search and Destroy, Insight with the ability to pull out that sniper and just kind of how, from the looks that I saw, especially in this series, even in the loss on the Scar, like I think this team is going to be very dangerous.
How did Jamie only have 8k damage? Can you click on map 3? Is this because they 3-0 slammed?
Well, the map 1 they dominated. He had 2,000. I mean, he's
2,000, whatever. They all had 2,000. Can you go to map 3?
Map 3, he went 11 and 16, but like they also dominated. So it's like.
So then, where's the difference in his damage? Like, why is he damage so low?
25. Go to map 2. He was balling map 2. His damage numbers, right? I mean, it's just because of map 1 and map 3. He had 2,000 on map 3 and 2,000 on map 1. But those are two maps that they absolutely dominated. That's what I'm saying. I didn't come out of the series. That's what I'm saying. Like, coming into the series, that's what I was focused on. And coming out of the series, I remember feeling like, okay, this AR duo is legit. Like they're going to be able to hang with them. And they were going up against a particularly good one in Rancor and Super. So yeah, this Toronto team is going to be dangerous, man. And if you look at their schedule, pull this up right here. If you look at the schedule, it's going to be tough, and we're going to learn everything that we need to know about this team. I mean, they're going to win this match versus the Surge. I have no doubt in my mind.
You would hope.
Then they have back-to-back matches. They have one more to end December against Faze Vegas, which that's going to be unbelievable, especially the way these teams match up, where it's like Toronto don't look that ahead in Hardpoint, and their Search and Destroy look clean, and both this is just a good matchup. And then the LA Thieves one on the other side of the break. So I think Toronto, they still got some work to do, obviously, to make winners, but yeah, because they got Faze, Thieves, and Gentlemates. You're gonna have to win one of those.
The thing for Toronto is, like, let's say that they go 1-1. Let's say they lose to Faze, and they lose to Thieves. Like, there's a role that G2 matches both teams playing for winners bracket, like on that Sunday before Major One.
That would be spicy. Or, I mean, the more realistic scenario is that it comes down to Toronto and G2 to make the winners.
Yeah. Probably. That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying is, like, it may come down just if they split some of these series, they get upset. But listen, Toronto's got the talent. Yeah. They have played pretty solid in what we've seen, not just last weekend, but also in the launch invitational. Like, they lost in Game 5 to Faze Vegas at that invitational and to C9, and C9 played pretty good in that tournament. Like, I think Toronto's got the talent. We only saw them play one game. I think we'll probably have more thoughts next weekend.
Well, I think also, like, Toronto, like you just said, that's the key thing is, like, they have the talent, and Toronto's always been a team that's went the extra mile and is, like, put in a ton of work. So that coupled with, like, sort of their process, which they might have one of the best processes in the league. These guys meditate together. They're always prepared in Search and Destroy. Like, you couple those two things together, they're going to be a perennial Sunday team, in my opinion. Yeah. I'm excited for this team. They're going to deliver some really good matches, bro. It's just the nature of the way that they play. Kleenex, Joe Deceives, and Real. Goddamn highlight reel. All right, so let's move on, though, to the next one. Boston Breach won a 3-1 over the Carolina Royal Ravens. New addition Nasty posted a plus 25 KD in the series alongside his AR duo and Cammy, who dropped a whopping 11,478 damage. Boston Breach, a team that had a bad preseason. A lot of people were saying they were out on them. When you just looked at the team and you looked at the changes they made, bringing in Nasty for Wake, a massive upgrade. Nobody can deny that. And then you looked at like the development of Boston over last year, where we just kind of felt like, Ben, they were just like a top 6 team. You know, maybe they can get one upset, you know, here and make it a Sunday. This year, this team, I'm not exactly sure what to think about them because a lot of the other teams made upgrades as well. You know what I mean? But like just looking at them specifically, I like the move that they made. And if Cammy can keep up this play, this team has a chance to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, but they play. This is the thing with Boston is like they play Carolina, who like you know.
How many times have you said that, or anybody in the community said that about Boston last year, and they continuously were like, "Nope, we're a solid team. We can upset the good teams."
That's what's confusing about them is like they were never amazing online for the most part. It's like they just went to events and they were just a tough out, and that's how they were able to qualify for chance and then have a really good showing at Kitchener. So like, I mean, I will say you can go look at their schedule. They got a great schedule draw this stage. So for what it's worth, like I think they'll make winners bracket purely on the fact that the only good team they play, I think, is Miami and Thieves.
Oh wow, they have a favorable schedule. Boston's going to be
and they got
Boston's going to be in winners, bro. They got
they better not fumble winners because it's a winner schedule for sure.
I mean, look, you go 1-1 here, you're sitting at 2-1. You beat the Surge. I mean, that's 3-1. And then you go 1-1 here, 4-2. Like they're going to be in winners. I mean, if they aren't, that's a massive fumble.
I would hope they're in winners.
We're sleeping on Miami G2 C9? How so?
Yeah, but we're not. More so, Alan, it's like we're saying that they can make winners because they're not playing like Faze, they're not playing like OpTic, they're not playing like Gentlemates. Teams that like I think that they're not going to be favored against. These are like
you don't think they're going 1-1, 1-1
schedule?
Yeah, Ben. I mean, or Shift. Like you don't think they go 1-1 in these two? One of those? They're winning. I would assume they win one of those, and then I would assume that they go at the very least 1-2 across these three. At the very least, if not, take 2 of them. But it's a soft schedule.
Yeah, it's just listen. We haven't been sitting here like shitting on C9 or Miami or G2. Like we've been pretty. I think there's good upside with those teams. I just think they dodged a big bullet. The thing is it comes back around because like, here's the thing. Go look at their major 3 schedule for Boston. Dude, the major 3 Boston schedule is like, it's insane.
Oh man. Yeah. So like. And you know, we kind of start talking about like champs points like at the end of major 2 split usually. But if you think back to like last year, any year in CDL really, like teams that are able to like take advantage and separate themselves early, it's a huge relief later on, man. So if you're Boston, this schedule you have to take advantage of, bro. Like you have to end up in winners here. But to this thing, like I don't think we're sleeping on those teams, but I just think Boston's a gritty roster. It always has been. And they just find a way. I mean, on this den, like this was a gritty den, just found a way. Purge has been showing consistent development. Snoopy's been, you know, been solid. I think you're waiting for Snoopy much better. You're waiting. What Boston's been waiting for, and I think they're finally set up to do it, is to like get the right supporting cast around, and they're waiting for Snoopy to ascend into like that next.
He got cooked at the Monster Invitational. He got fucking cooked, and that's why they played terrible. Like he played much better this weekend, which is if he doesn't play well, like usually that's trouble for them. I thought Byron was their best player, which
me too.
You know,
he played well.
Just with Boston, I just think there's going to be that team that's just we don't know, and then they get to an event and they're just prepared and they're hard out, and that's how they get 6th a lot. And then maybe they occasionally get that 4th, you know?
Listen, I love his game, and I think he's sensational, and like at times. But I could see a world where, because they do seem married to Snoopy, where they go to challenges and they get like the next up guy to replace Purge. I could see that world because I do think, and I'm not putting anything on his name or anything like that. I'm just saying this Boston team is trying to compete and win championships. I do see a way there if Snoopy were to ascend into that next tier. But we'll give them some time. They have a favorable schedule. I think Purge is in the chat. No, Purge, I've given you so much gas over time. I'm just saying, I see it playing out that way, but you never know.
I'm going to take the opposite of this because I was like, bro, I think like the way that their team works, if you replace Purge with like another crack sub player, like I don't think they're
What
overperforming as much as they do. Like it all.
it just
Bro,
depends
the
on
way
where Boston stands. Like if they don't make a winners this split, which I think they will, but if they don't and things go south, like I don't know, we've seen teams like be a player away, and not even to just ISO Purge. I mean, it could be anybody.
Well, I mean, I just think that their team is. Boston's not the team unless they're getting going 0 for a million. Like they're not. They're not going to be making a change. If they're getting 6 and 8, they're going to do what they did last year, bro. Keep the team together.
That org is showed loyalty.
And last year it worked out, bro. Like they were just, they were like I keep saying, they were tough out, and then they got to champs and they were winning a couple big series. And yeah, like they, didn't parlay that into the super Cinderella run, but they had a great placing.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I was a big fan of that team last year, and I was a big fan of that organization, sticking to those guys. But let's move on. The LA Thieves went 6-1 map count opening weekend, silencing all doubters for now, and are number 2 on the standings. 3-0 win over Faze Vegas and a 3-1 win over the Falcons put them there. Okay, so there was a lot of discourse about this Thieves team coming into the weekend. Yes.
Stupid ass discourse, I should say, by the way, by dumb fans that literally, I think, have fried short-term and long-term memory. I think their memory, their brains are just all cooked on a griddle, and they just are all just piling on Ken for no reason. It's insane.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, all right, so I know Ben is pretty aggressive about it. I don't think the fans were unjust in being worried about Kenny. Kenny was not good last year. Let's put that out there. He was not good.
He was mid-pack last year for sure.
No, it wasn't mid-pack. He was not good. He was not good for majority of last year. I mean, when he came back to mini, he was playing well early on, but just no ability to close out games. But so far, I've enjoyed watching Kenny. He's been consistent for this team. And I think if you're a Thieves fan, bro, you saw everything you needed to see of early indicators about how good this team could be, bro. Abizi and Hydra on the same team is unbelievable, bro. Like, those guys, when they're both making plays, it's going to be really tough to take them down, bro. Like, I think this team has the makings to perennial Sunday, perennial contender. And yeah, like Abizi with the play at the end of the overload, some of the search and destroys that they had, the close hard points, being able to close those out, and then the response they had versus the Falcons after that map 1 loss kind of silenced a lot of what people thought, like if this team would implode or if they would start arguing, things like that. It didn't play out the way a lot of people were talking about on social media. Yeah, I'm all in on this Thieves team now. I think that they're gonna have a really good season.
So thoughts on Thieves? I mean, Kenny had a great weekend. Yeah, Ernie actually didn't play. Ernie was probably their least consistent player this weekend, which is crazy. But even besides that, to your point, they won 6 or 7 maps.
I mean, Ernie had 14,000 damage.
Yeah, no, he was just he was laying bullets in that Falcon.
I mean, this response tells you everything you need to see.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. But like the Faze series, I felt like the thing with Thieves is like when you watch them play, I don't even think they've min-maxed their gameplay yet.
Oh no,
they're a little bit reliant on Abe and Paco frying in that Faze series, but all 3 of those maps were close and they clutched up. Like they even though they just formed as a squad, like the ice is there, which you like to see. And I don't even think that they have figured out like how to blow people out in hardpoint yet. But I just think that this is what we expected from this team, bro. The sub duo is just gonna blow people away a lot. You saw that. Go to that Falcon series, bro. Like,
I mean, dude, this was just a clinic, bro. Like, I mean,
what do you do? The thing with this team is, bro, like, Paco is going to take routes, and Abe is going to square impossible gunfights.
And they are going to buy.
What are you going to do about it?
And they're going to buy so much time. And then you have Scrap.
Ernesto and his fucking L trigger to just get 2 kills.
Yeah, I mean, this is their hardpoint separation will grow as the season goes on. The curious thing is, as of the top teams, like the win versus Faze looks so much better after Faze go in and beat the Gentlemates. Like it becomes that much more impressive. And then you couple that with like ability in the search, start to finish. Falcons had no chance, completely outclassed. Every time they need to retake, it happened immediately. Like the offenses were beautiful. Like this Thieves team is going to be super hard to beat. You're gonna have to be on the money, and you're probably gonna need a bad performance from either Hydra or Abizi to win versus Thieves. And just point blank period. I mean, the only team with like firepower to straight up match them is OpTic.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that like Faze Vegas played them twice, and honestly, 6 of those maps were really, really close that they played. And I think Gentlemates did beat them at the Quezon land for what it's worth.
Yeah, they have the firepower as well, I should say.
Yeah, I think like Thieves are talent-wise match up well against those teams, but everybody's giving their P's and Q's, and we'll see what happens. I think the only thing I'll say for Thieves is I don't know what they were thinking at the end of that overload against Faze. Like they had, I don't know why teams, and we saw them do it, and famously we saw Stallions do it in the Challengers Cup this weekend. I don't know why teams, when they have a lead and overload, think they should just park the bus and camp in their spawn.
Like just play keep away. Like let's keep ball possession.
That's just not gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, you saw though in the next series the overload.
I mean, they parked the bus and there's no bus to park. They got very. I'll be honest, Thieves. The thing about these Faze series is if Abuza, if we film reviewed,
if he holds mid, they win that map. Yeah, they win that map.
If he holds mid, they win the map. And yeah, Faze's hard point, they probably lose 4th map. They lose 1-3, but like, I think for Thieves it was good VOD. They're progressing well as a team. If you're a Thieves fan, you're getting what you paid for with the squad. I don't remember their schedule. I think they have some fun schedule. I think they play.
Gentlemates.
I remember Gentlemates trying on like OpTic.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, we'll see everything that we need to see.
Yeah.
The thing about the Thieves and the Gentlemates thing, and kind of when I said I feel like OpTic's the only team that really like long term will be able to match them if they're on their P's and Q's, is that this Thieves team I anticipate being absurd in search. I anticipate them to just be a BZ and Hydra. I mean, those guys have dominated that game mode for years. It's going to be hard to deal with. But this will be an interesting matchup. I mean, Gentlemates look like the best hardpoint team right now so far.
Yeah.
So this will be a really good matchup. And we'll in our episode after this weekend, we'll be able to dive more into our long-term views of both of these teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when they played last weekend, not this weekend, the weekend before, like if I remember, Gentlemates cooked them in both hardpoints they played. Like I don't think either of the hardpoints they played at that case on there. The
Gentlemates hardpoint looks
and the
good.
only map that Thieves won was the S&E. I think the overload was close, but the hardpoints was a diff for sure.
Thieves are gonna continuously get better at hardpoint. It's just gonna
Well, you could tell. I think it's most apparent when you watch like what Paco and Abe are doing on the map together. I don't think they're a full understanding of like the flow and what they want to do, but that's understandable because they just. Bro, I think people like the one thing I'll say, and I made this prediction before the season started last year. Right, the game came out at the end of October, and the matches at the beginning of December. Like people had 6 weeks.
Yeah.
To prep for these first series of matches. People had 3 because you have to remember that
we just had an update, so like
4 days, a new update, and we lost 4 days to Thanksgiving. So it's like. It's not like everybody had infinite time to prepare for these matches. So, like, it's why I think some teams are farther ahead than others, and it's just an absolute mix right now.
Yeah. And just to clarify, chat, I think we both agree that OpTic is the best team. We're just talking about the difference in Gentlemates and Thieves. Our predictions kind of long term. And I do think the edge will be to Thieves because of the search and destroy prowess of the players. But, all right, let's move on to the final team. OpTic Texas are number 1 on the standings, sitting at 2-0 after opening weekend. MVP Mercules posted a 1.8 versus the Falcons, and then in the next series versus G2, he had 2 1v2s to ice the S&D and take the momentum. They proceeded to win that series 3-1. OpTic, man, I mean, where do we begin, dude? Mercules is absolutely sensational. I drew this this comparison on broadcast. I truly believe it. I think Mercules, his player comp is Crim6. When Crim came into the league, it was similar, man. Just seemingly kept on winning and just taking over games and doing some crazy ass shit. And his screen didn't particularly look crazy, like his POV, like crazy movement. Just a really good shot.
He's more like Crim, less than like MC.
Yeah, I think he's more like Crim. I think MC's
POV. They could be more opposite though. That's the only problem.
I'm talking specifically in game. The POV from Mercules is an extremely clean shot, but it's not exactly like MC's always. MC's hitting some movement. He's always playing a little ratty. Mercules just always in the right spot at the right time and just making impact plays. It's seemingly like they ask him to do a lot. Like he's by himself a lot in search and destroy. He's in the clutch a lot in search and destroy. It reminds me so much of Crim. But let me pull up their match. First one.
Why you do that? I mean, I'll give you my thoughts on OpTic. I mean, there's just not many weaknesses in their game right now. They're the best overload team by far in the CDL, probably in all of COD. I think go watch their overload and like they understand more than anybody about how much space is available on the map. People are a little bit skittish just because it's the first time they're playing this mode. And OpTic just play like they've been playing it for 3 months, and they just like the confidence in which they push out lanes and trust to play 3v4 and wrap and not like get caught out. Like they are far ahead on that mode. Their search is really good, but I do think that, as always with their S&D and the way that Ant plays in particular, like there can be vulnerability if Ant is struggling to find bloods and like the pinch cut out like corner play style.
Well, you saw in the raid. In the raid they were like just he
was hard costing in the raid, and they're lucky they didn't lose that map.
Well, I don't know. Like he didn't have a
bro. I'm sorry they should have lost that map. Yeah, there's 2 rounds that they got tossed in that raid against G2.
So he didn't have like a great raid, but like the way that they're playing it is kind of like he has to take space mid, and like defensively, like if you get mid and you have laundry, they can't get the bomb down ringside because he can just slide out kill you on your side, and then if they're laundry, you just get picked from laundry. Right?
Yeah, but the problem is he wasn't getting any of those kills.
No, sure. But I understand like
collapsed on them.
I understand like their idea. But besides that, they're still able to win the map because Mercury's had 2 huge 1v2s.
Yeah, he had 2 huge 1v2s, but like I'm not trying to like denigrate OpTic because Merc played perfect positioning in those clutches, but like, bro, we're planning for top and we're giving it up. Caesar, like, what are we doing here?
No, I don't.
And the other clutch when they wrapped, like they tweaked and just didn't take the time to plant the fucking bomb, and like they would have won that round.
Yeah, that play was weird because it's like even if Caesar peaks and he gets ripped by Merc, like the other guy still has the advantage. He can just peek late. That was just bad.
But you know on raid this raid doesn't play that dissimilar to all raids. Bro, if you have the time to get the bomb down at pool, you have to do it because there are too many different ways that they could come at you. You give that clutch guy like so much time to just peel someone because of the setups you have to play.
Yeah. On that, I mean, both those rounds were bad, but I will say OpTic have like reached this level where they know exactly what they want to do on the map, and they have so much teamwork like at every point, and it like takes a map like this Scar where Shotzi was essentially shut down and they're on the back foot the entire time, and you got just crazy performances. I mean, Mambo went nuts on this map. Like these guys are just playing at their absolute ceiling in order to beat them because OpTic is just teamwork wise. When they're push things out together and when Shotzi's getting loose and they're in flow, they are so hard to beat, bro. They're just a step ahead and they're just faster than everybody right now. And they don't have a weakness, like an exact weakness on this team. Nobody's really prone to the bad game.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to beat them. It's gonna be very hard.
It's very similar to Atlanta Faze in Cold War. I just like the way that they play. I don't know, especially in a hard point, like if anyone else in the game can really replicate that style because of how quick their subs react, especially because Kyler is like essentially their IGL, and how hard of a kill like their ARs are, both their ARs. Like Brandon doesn't really scam, and neither does Merc, and like that's what makes them so tough.
Yeah, neither one of them scams. They're early, and then they're like crafty as well. Where like you see it with some teams, where it's like they'll play in structure, the ability to set up, and like they know like the end goal that they want. But it's like Shotzi's crafty. I mean, you think about like the Scar here, where it was kind of neck and neck, and if you guys watch this match, you remember it was Plain Hill, and like Shotzi just pushed up, laying down, finds like a 2-piece, and like those are the type of things that just happen consistently for them, where it's like they're smart, they're early, nobody scams, and they're crafty. It's just so hard to beat a team like that, especially when everybody individually is on par with your team as well. Just get like when you have an opportunity, like in this series versus G2, Ben, when you have an opportunity like this, you can't surrender to 1v2s. You know what I mean? Because like this, like,
and then G2 was just shook on that over. I don't know what the overload then was. They were just scared of OpTic. It was incredible to watch.
It was.
I just think there's not really any straight up weaknesses for OpTic. I think maybe the test case in how they lose is people like hard to read them on the like plays they like to make, pushing around hardpoint hills and then search, like making routes. You just hard play for those bloods, and then you just kind of play your numbers. Maybe that's just the like real way to beat them, or just hope that they don't play A+ Cloud on a given day. But right now, OpTic's the clear #1 team. I argue with the wall. Don't tell me the Gentlemates is 1B.
Yep.
I know they beat them at Case on Land at 1 a.m. Sure, but like right now, I just nobody else is on their level.
Yeah, OpTic has everything. They have everything. They have the players to do it. They have, you know, teamwork. They have the right chemistry, teamwork in game. They're crafty, like I said, and they have the ability to respond. Like this team is set up for a really good season. But that's all the teams in opening weekend. Yeah, we got some audio going off over and over here. How do we?
What do you got playing?
It is.
Do you got like music playing or something?
No, it's my sub alert, and it's just going off over and over. Hold on.
Bro, what?
Gotta do this. Sorry, guys. It's been a perfect show. We haven't had any technical difficulties till now. All right, I think it fixed itself.
It fixed itself. I think we're good.
All right, we're good. Okay, so guys, the show's not over yet. I hope you guys have enjoyed it up until this point. But Ben, we're gonna do some overreactions from week 1. Ben put together some overreactions. We are going to discuss them, and I'm going to tell you guys if it's an over.
Did you put together 5 or no? You made me.
No, this is just you.
5.
You put together 5.
Oh, okay, I got a good 5, bro.
And we're gonna say if it's an overreaction or if I think it's not an overreaction. So kick things off, Ben. Let's hear it.
All right, my first takeaway. Shout out to Telluride Bushman because I think that they are the best thing to ever happen to Tier 2 Call of Duty like ever. And we've had some great orgs and people really contribute to the scene of Tier 2 COD. And I know the CDL has been kind of a down era of Tier 2, generally in all esports. It's been kind of down last couple of years in Tier 2 due to COVID and economic conditions. But like the storylines coming out of the Bush Boys, the content that they're creating, obviously their team is very good. I mean, I just think the energy that they're bringing, and I know that a lot of people right now, like Stallions, like what Tommy's doing with his teams, OpTic finally getting in, what Omid has done, what Team War has done. There's a bunch of other people that have been mainstays and challengers. I just think like what Bush is doing right now, the audience they're bringing, the growth that they're going to bring to Tier 2, and I can't wait for the Major 1 content. I think they're the best thing to ever happen to challengers, like point blank period.
That, my friend, I would say is not an overreaction. I think I am on the exact same page. Some of the content, some of the reactions, it just gets you to tap into challengers a little bit more. It just does, man. I mean, you got those guys. Obviously, Jerry is a figure in Barstool. He's hilarious.
I got Jerry coming on the flank, quoting rulebook entry, section 3.2. Like,
and it's like it's just a good vibe, right? And I got our managers, which I guess Jerry would be for Telluride Bush, GM or owner, whatever it is, tweeting at Fellow and other players, calling out other teams. Like it's just putting more eyeballs on challengers, and could potentially be what elevates it and what gets people way more interested in it, just to watch like an every match basis. And then obviously the roster that they built, pretty solid team as well. So yeah, I would say that's not an overreaction. I'm fully on board with that, and I'm gonna be tapped into that story going throughout the year and challengers in general.
If you are OpTic, it's just gonna probably be tough with. I just don't know what the LAN version that's now stable is, but I would hope that we try to get challengers finals more on main stage if we can in some of these events, other than just say it like champs. But it's tough. It's tough to do, but I think challengers in a great spot. I think Bush are a big reason why.
Absolutely. All right, Ben, what's number 2?
Number 2. Listen, there's been a lot of discussion about the sniper, and I got to be honest. The 2-life sniper GA as constructor right now might be one of the stupidest ideas the pros have ever had. I think Rambo put it at best on the watch party this weekend, or maybe on the flank. Like these pros just don't think ahead. They just think in the moment on things, and they're like, "Oh, the sniper's so OP," because Dante was sitting in a corner during the Monster Invitational and just snapped on a guy quick scope, and that's why the sniper needs to be out of here. It's busted. Meanwhile, I didn't watch anyone take over with a sniper this weekend, and the problem with the 2-life thing is you burn those lives early, and then you don't have a sniper round 11. Like, I just think these guys are not willing to try something out for 4 or 5 weeks and then tweak. Like, if someone, I don't know. I just think the way the pros go around the process, I don't think that this is a good solution to the problem. Just play with the snipers, bro.
Okay.
And if it's busted, show us why it's busted.
All right.
I think it was a terrible idea of the pros.
So that is pump the brakes, my friend. That's overreaction. The worst thing that they've ever added, I think, is aggressive. I think the pros are now. While I
What's worse?
Now, while I do agree that them like they should test things out for a couple of weeks. I think that's kind of what they're doing without them in their mind like letting it be game breaking. I think we still got to see a decent amount of snipes. I would say if they were to allow it round 11 and the 2 rounds, I think everybody'd feel a little bit better about it. But we still did get to see a decent amount of snipes. The pros have allowed it in. People are still utilizing it. And as it stands right now, I have a positive outlook on the pros being willing to kind of surrender to the community pressure and allowing the sniper back in. But with some tweaks. The round 11, I think, is a necessity. Who wants to go into a round 11 where the sniper is just not available?
I agree. I think that tweak would help. I just think the idea is dumb, and I hope that they realize how dumb it is now that people are adapting on how to chow snipers and shimmy and not throw away their lives. And I think we're going to be at a point by major run where, like, bro, just get rid of the GA and just let them just use a sniper. Like,
nope, I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you that one, Ben. 1-1. That's an overreaction.
For what I'll say also is if you follow the sniper community, like Scope put out a really good video, I think yesterday, like everybody's asking for a little bit of a sniper nerf. So I think we're going to get one here soon.
Okay. Like I said, I'm not giving you that one, but let's go on to the next
one. Okay, so these next ones are more kind of overreactions on players. So we're going to start with Falcons. We kind of touched on it a little bit during it, but I think the way that AG Pred plays, right? He is someone that loves to just lay on his stomach. I know the AG memes are funny, but like that's actually how he plays. Like he is not a run around cracked style player. He uses information to make plays and usually requires him holding a corner or laying down. I just don't know if it works in this game and what they need from him. And he needs to adapt or he might find his spot in question on the squad.
Oh man. Really getting into it early, huh?
Yeah, I mean, bro, this is overreactions, man. You gotta tell me if you think I'm overreacting or not.
I think that is an overreaction, but I don't think it's a super far-fetched overreaction. But it's an overreaction because this was opening weekend, and they've played a very, very tough 2 matches, right? And if you're Falcons, you've invested a lot into this roster, and Pred was kind of the first guy you brought in to attract other top talent, top players around you. Dropping Pred, the problem with that is like, who the hell are you going to go grab that is going to be as good as Pred from challengers? And like, there's just not, it's not realistic given what Pred's ceiling can be. And then you also got to get, you also got to get Celium. You got to get Celium and Kismet to want to play with whoever that guy is. So,
and that's the difficulty they're going to have, Ant. Like, that's the problem. Is like, but it's a very easy solution. He's just got to. The thing with with Falcons is they just got to adapt as a squad and change individually how they approach the game. Like,
I agree.
MC's not immune from criticism. By the way, love MC. You know he's my boy.
Yeah.
He scammed on a scar hardpoint for the L for their team earlier this weekend, where he on a P2 should have blocked. Instead, he's off licking walls, looking at the pinch. A guy spawns behind the breaks, and that's how they lose the map.
Which one was that? Was
so
that the first
it's not just AG on that. How people got to change. Yeah, forget what series.
Oh yeah, that game was neck and neck. Yeah, I remember what you're saying.
Yeah, and MC mega scam for the L on the map. Like they all have to change their playstyle. I think AG's is the most obvious as far as adjustment. He does that. Like when AG gets going, he gets going, and that's why.
So what's your hold on? What's your statement? Your statement is like, in order for them to get to the next level, they have to drop Pred, or are you saying they're going to, or you think that they're going?
I'm saying in order for them to do anything this season, he's got to adapt. If he's not willing to adapt, the same issues that he had against OpTic, where they asked him to change the way he plays, and he said no, it's going to be the same thing.
Okay, so that like, you know that is not an overreaction. What you just said, but if you're saying that they're going to drop him, I think that that's an overreaction because I don't think that's on the cards yet. I think if anybody's on the chopping block for the season, it would be Xnet for these guys. And that is a crazy acronym in the chat, Harrison.
That's actually insane, Harrison. That is insane.
This is crazy.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
All right, so I'll give you a 0.5 for that one. So you're even right now. All right, what's the next one?
I'm gonna sub this one out. I was gonna do talk about draws, but I think we talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
On the show already. I'm going to talk about Overload. I honestly think after watching Overload in the invitationals, right, the kickoff tournaments, the Monster Invitational, the Case on Land, and now his first weekend, bruh, this game mode has already created better moments than we got in like 4 years of Control. Control was great in Black Ops 4.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me. And we had some great moments in Cold War, sometimes in Control, but it was mostly not that good in that game either. But I think Overload, and the game mode still needs some tweaks. Overtime needs some tweaks. Being able to drop the MP, like there are changes to the mode. But bro, the potential we have for this mode to pop on land, I think that this thing by the end of the year is going to be the second best third game that we've had behind Uplink, to be honest.
Yeah, it gives that same feeling. That's not a reaction. I'm on the same page, and it gives that same feeling as like when Uplink was first brought in. The crazy endings, the rallies back. There might be some tweaks that we could explore, maybe removing the limit on round number 1, things of that nature. But the built-in like sudden death, the additional 30-second timer, all that stuff is awesome, and it creates spectacular moments. Like it is so fun to watch. And we're already seeing a skill gap in that game mode early on, which some people were like worried about how it would play. The pro players in these matches, they've delivered, bro. It has been electric. Even in some of the blowouts, it's been absolutely sensational. It's awesome pace change, especially for that third game mode. I am 100% all the way there. I agree. Not an overreaction. This game mode has potential to be one of the all-time best game modes.
Someone chat made a good point, bro. Infinity Ward's working on next year's title. Don't fuck this up, Infinity Ward. Please, I for the because I want to love Infinity Ward, but the recent history, and I mean, it's not been great sometimes with these competitive modes and competitive rules. Please, Overload is working now. We're gonna work through some tweaks with the guys at Treyarch. I know a lot of their devs have been pretty vocal on X about potential changes they want to try out in this mode. Like it's a work in progress. If we go back to Control next year, I might tweak, bro.
I also just want to shout out the devs and just really the infrastructure this year overall. They have been on point. Like we've had changes, updates have been pretty good. I mean, they hot fixed the issue we were having during broadcast this weekend. Like, and not only on top of that, this game is just a really fun competitive watch. Like hardpoint search, Overload. This is the most fun I've had watching Call of Duty in a long time, like years. Like probably since Cold War when it was in its prime. Like this game is great so far. So shout out to the devs and Treyarch for getting Black Ops 7 to this point. Hopefully they just continue, and hopefully the pros continue to push for the changes that will make this game even better. Is that the final reaction? Do you have another one?
No, I got one more.
Let's get into 5.
We have this conversation every year about players potentially being on the last year of their career. And I got to be honest, this year, I think the combo is around Slasher. I know it's been only one match. He didn't play that great in it, but this might be it, Ant. I think this year and the way that the season's going to go for Carolina. Bro, I just don't know, dude. I love Austin. Austin's my boy, man. And I think his contribution to COD has been incredible. But if this team doesn't work, it might be it, Ant. It might be it, man.
It's not an overreaction. It's not. I'll give you it.
I wish it was.
It's not an overreaction. I think there were a lot of questions last year as to what was the exact issue with that roster. And now coming in, only been one match. And I know a lot of us, myself included, I love Austin. I think Austin's one of the best to ever do it. He slowed down a bit. So, I mean, throughout this split, teaming with this new blood and these new guys coming in, Slasher's going to have to perform, man. Like, if they don't make it into winners and he continues, I think I'm there with you. I'm going to say cautiously not an overreaction. And
I wish it was.
Yeah, I wish it was as well. But we'll revisit this. I'm gonna give it this split. Watch throughout the split, see what the Ravens do and kind of where Austin stands. But for the development of some of these younger guys, you're hoping that he can be the guy to do it. But we've already seen like him with Snoopy didn't really work, right? And him and trying to have Slasher be the guy developing these guys, it like sounds like it will work, but it just hasn't exactly been the case. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'm there with you, unfortunately.
Listen, I don't know. I don't remember who on the flank said it. I don't know if it was Sam or someone else, but they're like, bruh, like Carolina may reflect after Major 1 going into, by the way, the Major 2 split this year with the 11 matches, the
play
full
everybody.
single round robin. Like, you cannot just throw away Major 2 if your team sucks. You're just going to lose too many points.
Yeah, it's
so
huge.
People are going to make a lot of changes after Major 1. I think they may just go all in on just being a super crack team. And if they replace Austin and Nero with young players and they just go all in on just trying to play quicker than everybody else, like, that might just be their best path. I don't know, but I agree with you.
Maybe that's a tough one, man. Hits home
Austin's
a little bit,
my
but
boy,
yeah,
bro. Like,
me too.
Austin's my boy, man. It's just tough. To be fair, I want to say this about Austin last year.
You just couldn't pinpoint what the issue was on that team really last year. It was hard.
Last year, no, the issue was obvious, and Austin talked about 49 different times.
Yeah, you
just say on every day, and
whatever
they just didn't get better.
But they were ahead, and then there's just a halt, and where they just never got better. And then they made the roster change, and that just was not the answer. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, that'll do it for episode 1. So Slasher is on Ben's list. Officially 1 so far. Slasher and Pred too. Officially 2 players on the list. We will monitor that going forward. But this was a good time, man. Appreciate you guys all showing up.
I think, guys, what Ann and I are going to try next couple of weeks is him and I both live in Columbus, so we may do a couple episodes where we're in person together.
Yeah, we might do some episodes in person, and then maybe some even more exciting episodes down the line, potentially at events. We'll see.
Guys, please also let us know in the comments of the if you're watching this on YouTube, or tweet at us. Like, we are just starting this out. Feedback is appreciated. Like, we want to run these every week, so it's all for y'all. So y'all let us know what you think we're doing well, what we can switch up, and we'll try our best, guys. Because I think Ant and I believe we can make this thing pop. We'll also try and get some guests on. Already talked to some people.
We have some cool segments planned, some fun things. Yeah, we want to, for a lot of people who aren't able to like catch all the matches live, kind of recap them like for you guys. And then also, we'll do some other fun stuff like the overreaction segment we'll do often. We got some other ones planned. I don't want to dive into all of them. But if you guys enjoy this, like Ben said, give us like feedback. This is a passion project simply for you guys, like for the community.
Yeah.
And if you guys enjoy this, let us know. And this will be live on me and Ben's Twitch weekly and upload it to YouTube. And I'm going to get it squared away and get it on the podcast, Spotify and stuff like that as well. So appreciate you guys, man. Everybody take it easy. Episode 1 of the Codcast for the season down. We're going to be on point this year. That's why